So there was this MIT study that went viral a few months ago that said that 95% of AI projects don't actually make a profit. But I would like to make the following argument about this study. Duh. And not necessarily duh because I think AI sucks and everything it touches is bad, which I know a lot of you assume that I think, but duh, because if you've been in the AI and tech space over the past few years like I have, you've probably started to notice that the kinds of AI projects that are getting funded are not necessarily the ones trying to make money. So 95% of AI projects failing is actually working as intended. And to understand why AI projects aren't necessarily profit motivated, at least in the short term, you need to understand why these companies are willing to fund AI projects. So the first reason, and this is gonna sound a little silly, is peer pressure. Everybody is doing it. CEOs, believe it or not, are people too. You know how high school kids get peer pressured into doing drugs? Or I don't know, at least that's what my high school health class teacher told me. It didn't happen to me, but AI is the same thing. But instead of being peer pressured into doing drugs, CEOs are being peer pressured into doing AI. Sam Altman is up there talking about how he's gonna change the world with AI. Some guy on your LinkedIn feed is talking about how he improved his efficiency by 500% with some AI automation. And you're like, well, that sounds fun. I wanna be doing that. And there's some logic to this. If it wasn't a worthwhile thing to be doing, why would everybody be doing it? Everybody thinks that they wouldn't jump off a bridge just because their friends are jumping off a bridge. But if your friends are all CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, there's probably a reason they're jumping off the bridge, right? Right? And people don't generally talk about this in terms of peer pressure. They talk about this in terms of feeling like they're gonna get left behind if they don't do more AI. So a lot of leaders get panicked that they're gonna get left behind and they start telling their reports, we have to do AI, but they don't even really know what kind of AI they wanna do. And one thing I really did like about the MIT study is that they said, the people that succeeded more with AI source their projects from closer to the bottom of the org chart. So the people that are actually doing the work and know what they're talking about, which makes a lot of sense because, you know, speaking as someone who has spent their entire career at the bottom of the org chart, we're the ones that are actually on the ground and know what will or will not work. And also, for the most part, individual employees do not feel as peer pressured to be using AI. Maybe it's just the parties I go to, but nobody is ever asking me for my 5-year transformational AI vision. And speaking of peer pressure, I do want to just take a moment to talk about a very serious issue. This is something that is all around us in culture and something that weighs heavily on me personally every single day. The pressure to give into vibe coding right now is at an all-time high. And while AI tools can be extraordinarily useful, if you don't know anything about the code that you're telling Cursor to please fix over and over again, you're probably not ready to be writing real-world production code. That's why I'm partnering with boot.dev, the sponsor of today's video, so that you can start to get the foundations of backend development and actually start understanding the computer gibberish gobbledygook that Claude spits out for you every day. Boot.dev lets you learn to code while you have fun completing quests and fighting bosses, which when you think about it is really not that different than being a full-time software engineer. All of their content is free to read and watch, and if you want even more interactive features and hands-on coding lessons, you can use my code Alberta for 25% off your first year. Now, getting back to the video, I want to give you another reason why AI projects are being built without making money in mind, and this one is a little bit less cynical and more corporate America friendly. And that is that building out an AI project that can't or won't make money can still prove that a company has technological dominance in the space. Think about right now how much money is being poured into these foundational models. For the most part, consumers don't really care. Most of us just turn to ChatGPT out of habit. We wouldn't necessarily notice if one model was a little bit smarter than another. But companies are not making these models better for you. They want to prove that they are the ones dominating this space. So for example, OpenAI wants to prove that even though they're hemorrhaging money right now, when the time comes for them to cash in, they will have the absolute best technology and every possible business and person that needs to use AI will all turn to them and they will be the winner in a winner takes all situation. And this is definitely not limited to foundational text models. This is absolutely happening right now with a lot of photo and video generation tools. And this is definitely happening right now with a lot of vibe coding tools. That's a very crowded market. These companies are basically only in it for these massive future gains if they end up on top of their respective niches. And I think this even trickles down to like random HR software companies that want to show you that they've mastered AI. And when the world becomes more AI native, they'll be the ones that you need to turn to. So again, bringing us back to that 95% figure. If 95% of the bets that a company is making on AI don't work out, who cares? The only thing that is important is that the 5% that do work out are enough to bring that company to the top of its field. And that brings us smoothly to our last reason that a lot of AI investment is happening, which is, put simply, AI make stock go up. If you haven't noticed, a lot of people think we're in an AI bubble right now. The stocks of a lot of major tech companies are at an all-time high. These AI startups have these massive valuations. OpenAI right now is valued at $500 billion, which is like a lot. And a lot of these valuations are not coming from the actual profit that the company is making, they're based on the potential of AI to disrupt industries. Now, especially in the venture capital world, investing in these high-risk, high-reward companies is extremely attractive, right? Because that is venture capital's whole thing. They love to gamble. They love to invest in hundreds of companies, knowing that most of them won't do that well or might not work out at all, because they are looking for that one company that's going to 10x, 100x, 1000x their return and make it all worth it. So many investors want to invest in AI companies, even though they might know that many companies or many of the products that the companies sell might not work out. But that also means a lot of companies can boost their investor interest, can boost their stock price by just kind of like associating themselves with AI. And the company doesn't necessarily need to show that they're gonna revolutionize an industry with AI. They just need to show that when AI takes over, they're gonna be a winner and not a loser. It's like how the Oreo parent company is building their own AI video tool. It's like, nobody thinks Oreo is the next great AI research lab, but it probably does make investors really happy to know that when it does become technically feasible to cut entire video production budgets and just use AI, Oreo is going to be the first to do that. And this is starting to trickle down to the point where companies just want to have some kind of visible AI on their website or their app, so investors don't think they're going to get left behind. Like at this point, putting an AI chatbot on your website is not cutting edge, and it's probably not even going to differentiate you from your competitors. But it does subtly signal to investors that you are on the AI train, and they can expect you to make future bets in AI. And at that point, where your stock price is going up because you added a second chatbot to your website, I do feel like that is starting to get into bubbly territory. Something interesting I saw in the MIT paper is that they said AI projects are more often going to be seen in these visible top-line functions instead of high ROI back office opportunities. And their explanation for this is that it's easier to measure sales metrics or like click-through rates on marketing campaigns than it is to measure sort of like an amorphous efficiency improvement in back office opportunities. But I also think the reason that companies might be putting AI in these more user-visible places is because companies want their AI investments to be seen, and having some AI efficiency optimization in your back office doesn't really achieve that goal. So those are the three reasons that I think people are funding AI projects right now, even though in a lot of cases they might very well know that 95% of AI projects might go bust. But you might be thinking at this point, I don't care about any of those reasons. I'm not a CEO, I'm not raising venture capital, I'm not susceptible to peer pressure. How do I make my AI project actually succeed? So the MIT paper has some insights on these. Most of them I think are pretty good, some of them don't quite resonate with me, but I'm gonna give you a sampling of both and then you can take whatever you like. So the first one is that projects that were built in-house fail more often than those that were contracted out to third-party companies. I think this makes so much sense. Like for example, the Oreo AI video model thing, they worked with a third-party consulting company, Accenture, and that was who actually built out this AI video model tooling. Again, makes a lot of sense. A snack company should not be the one building out the video AI tool. Like the people over at Mondelez, which is the Oreo parent company, they probably don't even know what job titles they need to be hiring for to build that tool. Like they're gonna end up with somebody that only knows how to reset the Wi-Fi and has no idea how to even start making an AI video generation tool. So yeah, unless you already are a tech company, it makes a lot of sense to be contracting this stuff out to third parties. The next couple I don't really agree with, but I'm gonna tell you about them just because you're allowed to disagree with me if you really want. And they're that the AI tools need to learn from feedback and have memory. I think those things are good, but I think they're really specific. For the feedback one, like feedback is obviously nice, but you don't want to build out this whole like complex technical pipeline to make the feedback feed back into the model and it actually improve the model. That's a hard problem, by the way. And then the next week, a new model comes out that fixes all of those problems. I think that especially non-technical companies should really be going with the simplest solution here when things are changing so quickly. And I think for both the memory and the feedback thing, like again, those are nice to have, but it really depends on the system that you're building. So the MIT study is based on all these interviews, and a lot of the interviews are just with these workers who are working with the AI at these companies, and they're basically just giving feedback on the AI systems that they had to use. And so for the individual employees that were doing these interviews, they might be like, oh, the AI system was annoying me because like it kept forgetting to like spell a word a certain way. Like I wish it had that memory. But if you were building an AI system for like lawyers or therapists, it would actually be really important that that system didn't have memory and didn't carry things over between different individual clients. So basically, I just think these things are nice to have, and I don't think that they are absolutely needed for an AI system to be successful. It just really depends on what it is you're trying to achieve. And then these last two, which I really did like from the MIT study, they're both about making the AI fit what your company is doing instead of the other way around, which sounds obvious. So for example, they said fitting the AI into the company's existing workflow made the AI project more likely to succeed. If your job is, for example, writing emails and they want you to use AI in your emails, it makes more sense if like an AI suggestion pops up than it does for you to go to aiemail.com and have to like put in the information about the email in the context and like copy paste it over. Like, things should just be streamlined. AI should make things more efficient, not less efficient. That makes sense. And the other thing I thought was so funny on this is that they said teams succeeded more when they measured their outcomes based on their operational success, like the number of sales they're making, for example, rather than model benchmarks, which again, duh. Like if ChatGPT Pro+++ can win a math Olympiad, but it's not as good as writing a client email for you, then you should just stick with regular ChatGPT and not worry that the model benchmark said ChatGPT Pro++ is so much better. Again, with AI, a lot of this has become very meta, where people love talking about what models they use to solve their problems, but sometimes miss the point of solving the actual problems. So hopefully this helped you understand all the craziness in the AI world and why many of us were not surprised that 95% of AI projects fail. And who knows, maybe it'll even help your AI business succeed. Although this isn't really that kind of channel. Okay, well on that note, if you're still here, subscribe. You should subscribe. You watched the whole video. You really should subscribe.